You're listening to the Shared Value podcast, proudly brought to you by the Shared Value Project and the Shared Value Initiative. It's a place where leaders from around the world talk about the business of solving social issues.
This is Helen Steele. I'm the CEO of the Shared Value Project, and I'm delighted to be sitting down today with Damien Mu, the CEO of AIA Australia and New Zealand. Damien has been recognised as the Shared Value Champion with the Shared Value Champion Awards this year. And Damien, I'm just thrilled to be here with you and really excited to sort of learn a little bit more about the AIA Shared Value journey. So welcome.
Thanks, Helen. Great to be here with you and looking forward to the chat.
So, look, AIA Australia was the very first member of the Shared Value Project here in Australia. What has Shared Value meant for the organisation? How have you embraced Shared Value? What does it mean today for AIA?
Shared value for us has become, hopefully, something that's just part of the way we do things and part of our DNA. We were very fortunate to be introduced to shared value as a concept at that time through Peter Yates, who is obviously on our board, and then meeting you through the Shared Value Project. And there was this instant connection because I think innately as an insurer, your role in society is to try and help people when they need it most. And so we feel like we had a shared value element to what we do. But really what it did was it was like this penny drop in around unleashing the potential and the purpose of our organisation, and something that would bind all of us across the entity, and has really become a way of what we do and been able to articulate both to society, to government, to stakeholders, to regulators, and to our team and customers how what we do as a business contributes to helping them and society as a whole.
You mentioned there about the purpose and how it's enabled AIA to sort of articulate its purpose. Yes. Do you see sort of shared value then as kind of one of the vehicles or the tools that you use as an organisation to deliver on that purpose?
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't, by no means, as I say each year, it is something that we're learning more and more about. I mean, it is a journey that we go on, and but absolutely, shared value is a tool that we use for conversations both internally and externally to really be able to help people get on the same side of an issue or a problem, or working towards a common objective. And it is very powerful in that regards. And I think that as I've said before, we've interestingly, financial services has gone through one of its most difficult periods with trusts in the community, a Royal Commission. And when we reflect back, I think there's been no doubt Australian financial services has done a fantastic job in terms of riding through some really big issues with global financial crises, etc., and delivered some outstanding results. But what we've seen is that not only do you need to have a licence to play financially, you need a social licence, and some of that authentic narrative hasn't been there, and shared value is at the core of that. And I think we're now seeing that how that's got to come back in a very deep and meaningful way, and an expectation now going forward.
So maybe the Royal Commission then has kind of been the perfect storm for this shared value discussion that is a way for the financial services sector to move forward in a very positive way. Yeah,
Helen, it's a natural thing that, when we talk about change, unfortunately, human nature is that we all think about change and understand that the benefits of changing the way we do things and what needs to be done. But unintentionally, until there's sort of that burning platform, the acceleration and the pace of change just doesn't come. You look back at any change model, right? And they say the most effective change is where you create that burning platform. It'd be nice if we created the burning platform rather than the burning platform being provided for us, but it's there and we need to take it and run with it. And I think it is a fantastic opportunity for shared value to really emerge as a cornerstone of how we're going to rebuild trust in the industry and the community with Australians and New Zealanders.
Yeah, it's I guess refreshing for us because we've been having this conversation with AIA since actually 2013. Yes. So we know that this is something that you've genuinely been pursuing as part of your DNA, as you put it. So on the trust element, we know that the Edelman Trust Barometer indicates that institutional trust is at an all-time low, yes. But there's also the suggestion that there's a huge opportunity for the corporate sector to step step up and lead. And we know that leadership is, fundamental to the success of shared value in an organisation. So how have you actually led that discussion here internally?
Yeah, great question again. And I think, a couple of things is that when I reflect on it, and we have been talking since 2013, and I want to congratulate you on the success that Shared Value Project has had in Australia and across Asia Pacific, by the way, because I was actually at a board training conference in our leadership centre in Thailand, and shared value was a term that was being used by directors of other boards in other parts of Asia. And there was a really good debate about it, and talking about how important it is, because they were talking. The facilitator was talking about, not shared value, was talking about stewardship, but then referred to it as shared value, and it sparked this really good discussion. So congratulations on that front, because we are making progress in that regards. But for me, it's about accepting. First and foremost, I think the three things I would say is, one, this has to be authentic. Right, you cannot build trust from something that you do not believe in. I mean, this is, where the head and the heart comes together, and you need to make sure that if you're going to go out there, that you can authentically and genuinely stand up behind it. Okay, it's not something you can just put on a slogan, or, it's like when people say customers at the centre of everything we do, but then you look at the process and practice and go, is it really? Shared value too comes from a genuine, authentic place, because that story needs to be authentic. Secondly, it is about leaders accepting that, first and foremost, leadership is it's a privilege and a responsibility. Too many people think about leadership, in my personal opinion, as this, position or this power or authority. We've got to get back to remembering leadership is a privilege and a responsibility. If we honour that first, as the first principle of leadership, we'll hopefully get the other parts right. And so for me, what I've tried to do is really honour that and think of leadership in regards to serve to lead, and how we can give to get, right, in terms of not what am I going to get, what are we going to get, but let's go with the principle of giving, and so therefore it's been about then the third element, really thinking about the fact that we might have great policies and they're really important, ethics, code of conducts, all those other things, but not relying on those and outsourcing our role as leaders to those policies. And so what does that mean? It means then actually our role then as leaders is to take the essence and the principles of those policies, which are hundreds of pages and gold bound and really important, don't get me wrong, but that is not where the leadership journey stops. That the leadership responsibility is then to take the essence of the principles of those policies and then make them relatable right through the organisation. So for me, the number one principle that I can hope to relate out of all of those policies is, for the 3,000 people across Australia and New Zealand, is remembering this. If they have a question of what should I do, remember to do the right thing in the right way, and if I don't know, ask. That's the number one principle. And so for me, shared value is about also then me being able to articulate with my leadership team that what we do is absolutely genuinely helping to solve societal issues, and that the team here can bind and connect around that and find purpose and meaning in what they do day in, day out in a far deeper way, which then engenders a greater level of engagement, satisfaction and trust.
Now, you're obviously very passionate about shared value, and I know you've commented a number of times in various discussions that we've had over the years that this is part of your personal DNA.
Yes.
Can you maybe just share a little bit of your story and how you see that being part of your own personal journey?
Yeah, I mean, you look back and you sort of think about how you get to where you are and what you're doing. And I think my greatest lesson probably started when I was, fortunate to be born a first-generation migrant Australian and born and blessed in this amazing country, and I'm very grateful for that. I lived in a house with three families, and and what I didn't realise at the time was that having a common purpose and objective is so powerful. And my grandmother, who was led the family over here and brought us over here to give us a better life, left a very good life that she had there. And it was about how we worked as a family unit. And she ended up working in a factory for the next, her first job was at a factory in Australia. She'd get up at 4:30 every morning and get out there, go and do her 8 hours for the next 25 years. And she did it all for the family. She never asked for anything, never expected anything, except for that we'd come for lunch every Sunday, and that was her big ask. And you weren't invited; you just expected to turn up. But I watched how the family worked together, and we all did what we did. My mum was my mum. My aunt I called Mim because it sounded like mum. I was just sort of passed around, and I really saw the power of people working together for a common outcome. And we've been really blessed. That was the start of it, and and then I just took that into my experiences at school and work. It's like when I came to work, it was like, how can we work together towards a common purpose, and how do we support each other and just get in and help each other? And so that purpose part was really important to me. But helping others, right? Just thinking about how even though we didn't have a lot, it was really important that we were always giving in terms of trying to help others. And those sort of values have really helped me, and I didn't even realise it at the time, have sort of come in. So what we try to emulate here at AIA is the feel of the family that plays as a team. And so you get all the love of the family, you get all the dysfunction of the family, but we really get in and try and support each other and our customers and our partners. And, we celebrate, we celebrate the little things as much as the big things. And, so there's a lot of personal influence that comes into it, but everyone's got a story, and what we try to do is allow everyone to feel safe to bring that story to work.
Well, I mean, I every time I visit the AIA office, I can get a sense of the culture that you've created and that sense of excitement that's here. It's really almost palpable. It's fantastic. So, congratulations, Damien. And look, from a shared value project perspective, and our role, of course, is to build the ecosystem and create this community of practice. I mean, we thank you for the role you've played, not only here in Australia, but enabled us to get support from AIA in Hong Kong to establish Shared Value Project Hong Kong, and now, of course, working with the team in New Zealand to establish some programs and get the word out about shared value in New Zealand. So thank you very much for the contribution that you've made. As you said, I mean, this is about companies intentionally delivering on their purpose and for profit, of course, not just the social aspects, but the profitable aspects. And you demonstrate that every day in the work that you do with AIA. And I know that AIA will continue to be incredibly successful and grow and really support the community in which you operate. So congratulations, and I couldn't think of a more deserving shared value champion for 2018. So thank you.
Thank you, Helen, and it's very humbling, and I'm very grateful for the award. But it is a collective effort, and I can't wait to do more great things together with the Shared Value Project to make a difference. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, we know that you'll inspire many other CEOs and many in the financial services sector to take your lead. So congratulations.
Thank you, Helen. Thank you.
For more information on Shared Value, visit sharedvalue.org or sharedvalue.org.au, or join the conversation on Twitter or LinkedIn with #SharedValue.